First, we have our materials: sodium, potassium, neurotransmitters, the neuron, and the axon. When the neuron is resting, special leakage channels let potassium diffuse from their dense environment to the less dense outside. Similarly, there are sodium leakage channels that let sodium diffuse to the inside. There are also specialized pumps that let 3 sodium leave the neuron as 2 potassium enter it. The pump and leakage channels are always operating. Leakage channels never close. And there are 2 kinds of channels: gated channels and linkage channels. When the membrane depolarizes, the sodium-gated channels open to let sodium come inside, while the potassium-gated channels remain closed. Repolarization is the opposite. The sodium-gated channels close, while the potassium-gated channels open to let potassium leave to the outside. When the neuron is returning to its resting state, all the gated channels close. This leaves the open leakage channels and the operating pump to keep the neuron polarized at rest. Propagation is the process of using sudden depolarization and repolarization of the axon's membrane to transmit a message through a nerve impulse. Propagation is more efficient than other transmission processes because it moves only on the nodes between myelin sheaths. Having to stop only on the nodes makes the message transmit faster. The neuron rests with a charge of -70 millivolts while only the leakage channels are open and the pumps are operating. When the neuron is stimulated to its threshold charge of -55 millivolts, the membrane immediately depolarizes. The sodium channels open while the potassium channels remain closed. Then all the gated channels close when the neuron repolarizes, but the potassium channels close slowly, causing the membrane to hyperpolarize before it returns to its resting charge of -70 millivolts, with only the leakage channels open and the pumps operating.